Welcome back, guitarists. That was just a little messing around with a bass. So that's our big next section. Once you've really got your chords and you really know what you're doing with the root versus the fifth, you can start playing bass lines. Now, yes, I've got a bass in my hands, but you don't really need one to get started. So let's switch back over to the guitar and we can start learning how to play bass on the guitar. All right, so bass on the guitar. It's actually really simple. It seems like it might be a lot of work, but you've already been doing a lot of bass line stuff on the guitar. So if you just turn over to page 42, we have the introduction to the bass guitar. The parts, pretty much the same. You know, you've got your headstock, your tuners, you've got your neck, your frets, your strings. The body is a little bit different because the body is solid, and we do have pickups. So those center things that pick up the sound, instead of having a hollow body and having the sound hole where the sound comes out of the guitar. Now the strings are they're the same. You have, of course, on your guitar, E, A, D, G, B, E. Well, the bass only has 4 to start with. It does go up to 6, 7, even crazier amounts of strings. But the simplest bass is 4 strings, E, A, D, G. The same as your 4 strings, 6, 5, 4, 3. So we just have to start with that. Now, when you're playing bass, you start to fret single strings instead of having to do full chords or anything like that. You just use 1 finger per fret. This is why we were doing the 1, 4, 3, 2 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can get used to playing 1 finger per fret. Now we look at what we've got here. We're fretting single notes on a bass. So what I would like you to do is repeat after me. We're going to start with our right thumb, and we're going to play string 6, open. Then we're going to move to the first fret of string 6. That's 1. Keep your eyes on your fingers. Watch your left hand. Now we're going to go to the fret 3. Now notice I do 1, 2, and 3 down. I'm not doing anything else. 3rd fret. Then we're going to the open A string. A. We're going to the 2nd fret, and I'm going to use my 2nd finger. Then we're going to go to the 3rd fret. Now we're on the D string. D. We go to the 2nd fret of D, still using our 2nd finger. Then the 3rd fret. Then we go to G. And that's where we're going to stop right now. So the biggest thing, you've got to memorize this pattern. Those notes that you just played are the roots of all of the chords that we've done thus far. So when we go through this one more time, this time we're going to say the note names. So the note names, they just follow your musical alphabet. We start on E. Then our first finger on the first fret of E is F, just like the next note of the alphabet. Then the next finger we put down, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, is G. Then the next note is A. We don't go to H, we go to A. 2nd fret is going to be B. So 2nd fret A string. 3rd fret A string is C. Next note, open string D. 2nd fret D is the note E. Uh-oh, we just repeated notes. So we've got to know which E is which. Next note is F, 3rd fret D. Then your G. So go through this a few times. Put it into your warm-up. Run through this pattern every day. Say the frets, say the note names. The note names are the important part. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. All right, our metronome is set to 72 beats per minute. We're going to say each note and play each note twice. Here we go. How about I play, then you play? 1, 2, ready, and E, E, F, F, G, G, and A, second fret, B, 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 C, C, D string, D, D, then E, third fret now, F, F, G. All right, how'd you do? It might feel a little weird, but again, we've got to get those single fingers, single frets. This is also how you play melodies. Okay. Now, we continue on playing bass lines. We take our simple songs like Wayfaring Stranger, and all you do is you take the chord, so in this case A minor, here's your A minor chord. Now where is the root? That's why we had those, roots and fifths. So we go to the root of A minor, which is A, it's the name of the chord, so you find your A, and usually you're going to use your lowest A. Just happens to be an open string. And that stays there for a while. Here we go. I'm just a poor wayfaring stranger, a traveling. So we go to a D minor there. This world of... And then we go back to an A minor. And that's the simple bass lines. You just take the name of the chord and play that note. That's why we need to know E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We've got to know those notes. So take a little bit of time and really learn that pattern, because you're going to be seeing it a lot. Bass lines on House of the Rising Sun. So on page 43, you can see the beginning of how that bass line works. Again, you're just taking the simplest notes, in this case E, and then up to a G, then up to an A, then up to a C, and then starting over. And if you listen to track 46, which is House of the Rising Sun in our folder, then you can hear just how this works. Now I'm going to play through House of the Rising Sun using just bass lines. I'm going to do it once on the guitar, and I'm going to show you once on the bass and see how it pretty much sounds the same. The bass is just lower. Yeah? Here we go. House of the Rising Sun. Now, on the bass guitar. So as you can see, same fingering, same fretting, using the same strings basically, just sounds lower. So as you can see, guitarists, making a bass line is not that hard. You look at the chord, you figure out what note is the root, which again is just the name of the chord, and then you just have to remember where that note is on your guitar. Now if you were to transfer that to a bass, it's the exact same thing. The only difference with a bass and a guitar is that the bass is bigger, so you have a little more stretch, and it's a lower sound because of the larger strings. So the playing idea to start with is pretty much the same. So now what are you going to do with this? Well, you can start making bass lines. You can start playing just the root note of chords. And that will allow you to play with a lot of different songs that maybe you don't know the chord yet. If you can figure out where that note is, you're good to go. So that's your next assignment. Practicing bass lines, practicing single note lines. Take a look at all of the songs that we've already done. Start at the beginning with Skip to My Lou. Easy. D and A7. That's 2 open strings, and you could play bass lines. Now you can mix up the rhythms, you can do some different things with that and make it more interesting. But at its heart, it's just one note with a chord, and you've got a bass line.